Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I figured I'd actually give it a go and try doing like a TBR video, see if you guys like this. If you do like this stuff, just like leave a thumbs up to let me know and then I'll end up doing more. But I was thinking maybe I should share, in case y'all want to read some of the stuff I'm reading, and then we'll just chat at the end of the month. Whether it's good stuff or if, we need to end up maybe bitching a little bit about it. I don't know. We'll see. But for this month, I feel like I have a good list. We'll see if I stick to it because I'm a mood reader. But I have 8 books in total. And then I'm also thinking about maybe doing a little bit of monster smut, which I'll just mention those at the end because they're fun and they make me laugh. And you should try it. And I have some wild ones for that. But I have 8 books in total here, all romance, of course, because it's me. But I have some historical romance, some fantasy romance, and some fairy tale retellings. So I'm excited. I honestly think this is a nice, juicy set of books. So starting off, jumping into it, I'll just do like quick 1 to 2 sentence, like kind of plot lines for y'all. But a lot of these are on the fantasy and fairy tale ones. A lot of them are on KU, by the way. So the first one is called Taken by Fate by Shannon Mayer. And this, honestly, I bought it off of one sentence thinking this was going to be really, really good. And then when I got it and I read the full synopsis, I was like, oh, crap, this sounds like a joke. So I think this is going to be a little bit more comedic because just the stuff in it just sounds wild. But essentially we have a girl trying to save her best friend from the werewolves. So she auctions herself off and the vampires end up taking her. And while she's in their territory, it's like she's on the cast of Bridgerton, the way she's being dressed, and she's thrown into the Bachelor that's mixed in with the Squid Games. Okay, it's a wild ride. It's described that way on the synopsis. That's not me, so just bear with me here. Then she escapes that, gets to the werewolf territory, saves her friend. Then they're trying to escape. But then this hot vampire general dude comes in and she's like, do I want to escape? Or do I just want to be with this guy? So we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot to unpack in this book. A lot. And there's a lot of modern day things that's being brought into this that I'm like, what? The Bachelor and the Squid Game is really where I'm like, oh, sweet Jesus. I need to see how this is described. All right. So I'm going to read this, Taken by Fate by Shannon Mayer. If y'all want to read it with me, cool. I don't have high expectations. Like I said, I'm expecting it to be a little more comedic. So we're going to give that a go. But the rest of the books, I'm actually all just, I think they're all going to be really good. Oh, I'm so excited. So let's get into the fairy tales here. First one, this one's called Spin by Genevieve Ross. And this is the Rumpelstiltskin one. It's very classic Rumpelstiltskin where he's helping her turn straw into gold and taking her baby, all that jazz. But when it's time for her to actually give him her baby, like to actually fulfill her promise, she literally can't. And it sounds like Rumpelstiltskin has fallen in love with her within that time span. And he actually has to work against his own magic so she doesn't die. Because he's a very dark creature. He's definitely the villain. And he's always had this bad outlook on humanity because it sounds like he was maybe abused when he was younger. So he has very dark, dark magic and blood magic. So he's going to have to work through a lot of stuff to make sure she's saved. So it sounds good. I'm excited. And I've started it already, and I can tell you, like Rumpelstiltskin, it's nice. He's written in a way where it's not just describing him as like some hot guy. He sounds like a villain. And it almost like he has that slimy quality of being a villain, but simultaneously he doesn't really seem unattractive. It's weird. There's a classic fairy tale villain vibe coming out of the way that he speaks. So I'm enjoying it. I think it's good. I'm excited about it. Next one. This one's Bend Her by Cassie Alexander. This is a Beauty and the Beast reimagining, really. And I'm excited about this one, man. Oh my God. I'm a Beauty and the Beast girl. Like I love me a good retelling of Beauty and the Beast. I love the Beast. That's what it is. But this one, the Beast is a mage, and when he went through his ascension after becoming a mage, he had a vision of his death, and he sees a beautiful woman killing him. So because of that, he's kind of been very solitary, and he keeps to himself, and years have gone by. You can imagine how angry that makes you. And it sounds like he has some sort of internal beast, all right? I don't know if he's a shifter or what, but he definitely has an internal beast. And one night he opens the door and there's a kidnapped woman who was just thrown on his doorstep. And when he sees her, he recognizes her from his vision and knows that she's going to be the one that kills him. So he keeps her captive, but the beast inside of him is like, ooh, I like her. I want her. So he kind of has a conflict of interest in his mind because he knows she's going to kill him, but his beast is like, oh, I like her. So it sounds good. She sounds like it's going to be like, she's going to be a character that is going to be very sweet, and she's really just trying to help her father. So he's conflicted, like even his sort of logical side's conflicted and just being like, oh no, she's sweet. There's no way she could kill me. So we'll see where it goes. It is a series, by the way. This is just book 1, but I'm excited about this. I think this could be bomb sauce. So there's that. The next 2 books are fairy tale retellings again. I've been in a fairy tale mood, guys. Like, it's just, and I found some good ones, okay? So the next 2, I'm actually reading the second book in each of the series, but I don't want to talk about those in case you haven't read it. So here it is. Here's the first, like, book plot lines. First one, Sleeping Beauty retelling. Love this so much. It's so, so good. It takes a little bit to kind of get into, like it's a little bit slow in the beginning, but then you get to some stuff where you're like, oh my God, the author was clever. All right. So we have a Sleepy Beauty retelling that's literally mashed up with a Marie Antoinette sort of like life, her life and the French Revolution. So it's really cool. Like if you know anything about the French Revolution and Marie Antoinette, it's neat. It really just like, it tickles your brain. It's fantastic. And it's the classic fairy tale, but at 16, the curse doesn't actually happen. She doesn't end up pricking her finger, but she's technically still cursed, so no one will marry her up until years later when a fae prince from the summer court says, I'll take her on, right? So she goes over to the fae court, which is totally different than her human life, and their court politics, court structure is really, really different. And when you read the synopsis on Amazon, you get this impression, because it's called a dark fairy tale, you might get the impression that it's abusive. It's not. That's what I got. That was the impression I got. But once you actually read it, their relationship is loving, but it's the court sort of system that you're like, whoa, this is weird. Like but a good weird. It's just different, and it's neat how it's structured and like the titles of the certain people who have power and all of that. So just trust me when I say that. Once you get to the court part where it's kind of described what's going on and why it is the way it is, part of you is kind of like, okay, that makes sense. I can follow along with this. You might not agree with it, but you can follow along with it. It's interesting. It's very intriguing. But then on top of it, like I want to say something right now, but I don't want to take it away from you because I didn't see that coming and it was just great. But the villain, I'm not going to say what goes on with her, but she, like, you can understand her reasoning, okay? That's what I'll say. And it plays in with the history and all that, all right? That's where I'll leave it. It's really good, though. It's really interesting once you get to it. Slow in the beginning, but just keep going, okay? Please. It's fun. I liked it. Anyways, I'm on the second book of that, which I believe is called A Prisoner of Mirrors. The first one is Prisoner of Silk by Lydia Foxglove. Okay? Cool. Next one. So this is another series that I'm on the second book. And the first book is called A Land of Never and Night by Lily Archer. It's a Peter Pan retelling, and I think it's really, really good. I will say, before I get into like a quick thing about the storyline, there's no romance really in the first one, okay? Like no one even gets kissed, so it's super slow burn, which is not what I was expecting based off of the synopsis. So that was upsetting, but despite that, I literally cannot stop thinking about that book, and I can't wait to get into the second one, which I think the second one is where we're finally going to get Captain Hook. I love me a pirate. But the first book, really what just drew me in, it literally held my attention. I was so nervous when I first got this book because I got it as a gift. I couldn't tell the plot, so I was like, ooh, I don't know if this is going to be written well, but it's good. The first book, it's kind of like a world building, introducing you to the characters in the storyline, but it's good. It holds your attention the whole time. I wasn't skimming or anything like that, and I was definitely invested in it. But the thing that's cool is it feels like Neverland, which I haven't gotten these from any of the other Peter Pan retellings, especially the most popular one on Amazon, the Never King. But this one, like, it feels like the Neverland that I grew up with Disney. So it was so fun, like going back there and like going back there as an adult, even as a reader. It was cool. Like there's stuff that feels dangerous, there's stuff that feels whimsical, magical. It was just really neat. She did such a good job in that regard. It's definitely still adult. Like don't when I say Disney, don't get the idea that oh, it's just a bunch of kitschy little kitty stuff. It's not. The mermaids want to eat people. But it's just I don't think I've had a book really hit me like that as far as the world building goes, where I'm like, oh my gosh, there's whimsy to this. I remember this place. I remember this place, not just the freaking like Wendy darling, because Peter Pan is the same storyline that you kind of heard. His shadow's missing, the magic's gone from the island, or it's dying, so he needs his shadow back, all that jazz. All the lost boys are grown up, and they're trying to get back to being little boys by having Moira Darling tell them stories. Okay, that's the premise. Sorry, I don't think I mentioned that. But anyways, it's just, it's good, you guys. It's really good. And I'm at the part where I think Captain Hook's coming into play. And I'm excited about it. Because he sounds like a babe. All right? I think I'm finally going to get some kissing. But anyways, that's that. That's my fantasy romance / fairy tale retellings. Sorry, I'm sick. But anyways, that's my fantasy romance / fairy tale retellings. I've been really into the fairy tale retellings, if you can't tell. But the next three that I have are the historical romance, all right? So the first one, it's a Johanna Lindsey. It's one of the Mallory novels from that series. It's called Say You Love Me. I don't think I've actually read all of the Mallory novels. I actually haven't read a ton of Johanna Lindsey. Now I'm really talking about it. But this one, if you're someone who's coming from fantasy romance trying to get into historicals, I wouldn't start with this one. It still sounds like a good plot line, but I think you need more adventure. So for this one, for Say You Love Me, we have a girl and her sister who go into the care of her aunt and her uncle, and because her parents died and her uncle he's like lost all their money, so he's freaking out and kind of convinces the older daughter to become a mistress, if you will. So she actually takes herself to a place called the House of Eros and auctions herself off to be a mistress. All right? And one of the Mallory, I think sons actually, ends up bidding on her, and their relationship grows from there. All right? So the main thing really for me is the auctioning part. I know it's a red flag. I know it is. But I like it. So, anyways, the next one. This would be good, I think, for any of you who are fantasy romance readers trying to get into historicals. It's called In Pursuit of a Scandalous Lady by Gail Callan. This has more adventure to it. And essentially, our girl here, she's tired of the ton life. She's very bored. She's a lady. And she ends up posing nude for a portrait that ends up getting publicized. So this Earl, he sees it, recognizes the diamond she's wearing, but he can't see her face, so he doesn't know what lady it is. Recognizes the diamond because 10 years prior, it had disappeared from his family, and it's a very important heirloom. So he goes after the painting thinking he'll be able to figure out who the lady is. And as he's following the painting, he actually catches these 3 girls trying to break in and steal it, and they're all claiming that it was them who posed, so he can't really threaten to ruin any of them and get the diamond from her because he doesn't want to just, he's gonna do some bad stuff, but he only wants to do it to like a bad person, right? That's his thinking. So he's kind of trying to threaten them and figure out who it is, and our girl is freaking out because her sister and cousin are trying to help her, so no one can figure out who it is that posed. But she's so nervous that she's going to ruin them, especially when another diamond collector comes in and starts chasing after them, that she's just like, I can't handle this, I can't ruin them. So she panics and she flees the country. Our Earl chases after her, catches her, they're unchaperoned, and he's going to do whatever he needs to do to get that diamond, babe. All right? So this sounds like a good time. I'm excited about it. I always trust Gail. She's a 4-star read and above every time. I love her so much. So I have high expectations for that. It's gonna be good. All right, just trust me. Anyways, the last historical romance book I have is actually an American novel. Well, it's like they go from Texas to Mexico. But I'm not really into American. I like to read more so like other countries, a lot of European stuff. That's what I'm into. But I have a goal to try to read American. So I'm trying. But I've never read this author. It's called Linda Windsor, or it's from Linda Windsor. It's Mexican Caress. And it's a beautiful cover. I won't lie. Like I'm into the cover. And the whole premise behind it sounds like it could definitely have some adventure to it. But our girl, her parents were murdered, and as she's going from America back to Mexico, that's her homeland, she's trying to get back there, and her parents' murderer actually ends up catching her and threatening her. But then this Texas Ranger comes in and saves her, and I think he wants to take her with him somewhere, and she can't have that, so she distracts him any way that she can, and, you know, shows him her, not apologies, shows him her appreciation, and spends a night with him. But in the morning, before he wakes up, steals his horse, steals his clothes, and gets the hell out of there, right? Goes down to Mexico, goes to her home, and is actually going to try and chase after the murderer and get her revenge. So our boy here, our Texas Ranger, is not having it. He loved, like, they had one night together, but he's smitten as a kitten, babe. And he wants to go and get her and punish her for doing what she did. And then I think they're going to work together to get revenge. So it does sound good. There's a lot to it. I have high hopes on this one. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll start being into the American stuff. I don't know. But those are my historicals. As far as like my monster romance goes, I'm going to let you read the synopsis on Amazon because it's just... I can't do it better. I'd rather have you read it on Amazon, but I'll tell you which books they are. So I believe the first one is like Mating with the Mantis. And I mean, the cover, obviously, you can tell. Quality. I'm expecting this to be insane. I really kind of just scraped the bottom of the barrel, I think, now. Like, I've gotten pretty bad. But I have this one. Very excited. And then I also have, I believe it's called Romancing the Coronavirus. You heard that right? It's a series, by the way. Make sure, read the synopsis, but also make sure you read the quotes that came out of the book. Okay, just trust me on that. All right? It's just gross. But I'm excited about those. Honestly, they're the type of books, if you haven't read Monster Smut, I read like the comedic ones. So I find that they're good kind of like palate cleansers in a way, or they're good at getting you out of like if you're just kind of in a book slump, because they'll just make you laugh, and then simultaneously you're just gonna be like, I need to read a good book after that. Oh my God. So maybe give them a shot. All right. But anyways, those are my books. Those are my 8 books plus my 2 little monster smutty novellas. But hopefully y'all want to read some of those. Hopefully some of them sounded good to y'all, and we can just talk at the end of the month. Hopefully we'll just have nothing but good things to say. But, you know, if we need to bitch too, that's fine. All right? I'm down to vent. I'm down to bitch. It's cool. All right? But that's it. I'll talk to y'all later. You guys have a great rest of your week, and bye.